Record. Well, welcome to our November 2023 meetup of our awesome real estate group here. I know it's been a while. It's been since the spring since we, I think, last reconvened. And so we have a lot of catching up to do, but I'm super excited to have Steve speak with us on the things that he's doing in his real estate investment business, and would love to hear from you all. All of you on this call already know me. Obviously, I'm Laura Caruso, but if anybody's watching it afterwards, this group has actually been going on now for over 4 years. We've had some hiatuses here and there, but really love the team I feel that we created with this group, and everybody really does have the mindset of wanting to help each other out, and rising tides really lifting all ships, and that's what we're all about. Everybody can be successful and do well, and I love the fact that that's what we're trying to do here. So Steve, I'm going to let you go ahead and take it away, and just discuss a little bit about what you're doing, and then afterwards maybe everybody share where they're at in their real estate investing at this moment in time at the end of 2023.
Okay. All right, guys. How you doing? Welcome. Like Laura said, my name is Steve. I'm Steve Saunderson. I work with the company Shot Home Solutions. We're based out of Orlando, Florida. We joined Fortune Builders back in 2018, I want to say. I think it's 2018. Me and a group of our, a couple of friends of mine, we're trying to find ways to better ourselves and create some generational wealth and kind of, work for ourselves. And we started the company with the long goal of, like everybody else, we want to do some rehab, we want to do some flips, we want to get some big paychecks and get some big cash out. And as we all know, the business does have, has kind of takes its toll. And there's some turns you have to make, and there's some adjustments you have to make. So I'm calling today's presentation the great 2023 pivot, right? And I think you can add whatever you do to it, right? It's really just about in life as you're kind of going through the process, you're going to come to those approaches. You have to kind of figure out, say, how do I make this work, right? So I know we've all kind of been in that space, and that's not a lot of us even got into investing in the first place. Right? I was like, we got to find another way to do something else, and that kind of led us to the real estate. So a little backstory on me: born in Jamaica, lived there until I was 6. Spent a little bit of time in New York, but I grew up in Atlanta, where I call home. And we moved to Florida back in 2010 when my daughter was born. Lived a little bit in Miami in the South Side, and now we're staying in Orlando. But I come from a retail background. So started out at famous footwear, TJ Maxx. Worked in Nike for about 10 years, for about another 11 years, and I've been at Under Armour for a little over three and a half years right now. I'm a general manager, so I run one of the top buying stores in downtown Orlando, and I have a great team, about 100 employees. I kind of help with the high-level pieces. I have a great team, about 15 leaders that run the day-to-day of the business, and they keep everything going. So outside of that, I found time to kind of continue to pursue my real estate investment career. My boss is super on board. He's like, go do the deal. He's like, hey, if I got to leave work, I got to take the call. He's like, take the call, go do the thing. Your team is running. We're running one of the best cities in the organization. It's great to have a leader that I work with. And pretty much as a partner, he's obviously picking my brain daily on real estate and investing, and he wants to know all these different things. So I think for him, it's like a twofold. Like if I keep Steve and he's taking care of the business, the store's doing good, I can pick his brain and learn some different things too. And he actually started his own business this year. He's opening a gym. And we took a meeting with him a few months ago to kind of walk him through opening the LLC and a few of those kind of things. So, but a big part of it, I love serving people. I love retail. I love being in the field. I love being with consumers and that kind of stuff. So as I continue to grow the business, I'm always going to work on the service side of it. That's always been a part of my passion. So our real estate investment firm, we've done several flips and rehabs, some total guts. We have one rental. We're working on a second rental property right now, and we've done a couple wholesale, right? So that's kind of what brought us in the foundation of the business. So as we kind of start talking about the pivot, right? So I started getting to this place of going, I feel like I'm not thinking big enough. I feel like I'm not really kind of challenging myself enough, and I'm not looking at the big picture. I'm looking at these smaller projects and smaller projects. So I think I had this conversation with Laura maybe about 2 years ago about we're gonna build a subdivision. I went to the Kennedy Space Center. I stood in front of the shuttle, and I'm like, I'm not thinking out of the flow. I'm thinking local. I'm thinking small. So what could I do to kind of help expand my mindset a little bit? So we started this project saying, hey, we're gonna go into new construction. I know nothing about new construction. All I said was like, I was running one morning after I went to the Kennedy Space Center, past the neighborhood, and they were just building some houses out in Davenport. I said, that's where I need to go. I'm thinking too small about the rehab, the one property here, one property here. I need to think a little bit bigger and think, long term. So we start talking about new construction, right? Got it. Don't have any money. Don't have any. I have nothing. I know nothing about new construction. All I know is I want to do it. So I started sharing that with people. I started sharing with people. Everybody I talk to, hey, I'm doing some rehab, I'm doing this, I'm doing some wholesaling, but I eventually want to get into new construction. And funny enough, people started coming and asking me about new construction just because I was talking about new construction. Well, what do you think? What do you think about this thing? And so we're going to get into the pivot in a second here. So my partner, we own a rental property in Atlanta, in Jonesboro, Georgia. It's about an hour outside of Atlanta. It sits on about 4 acres, right? We've owned this property for about, it started with being one of the first purchases that we made that helped create some passive income. We borrowed against a few times on some other deals. And it's on 4 acres in the suburbs. And we went back and said, why don't we build on that, right? We already own it. It's our property, right? It's in the neighborhood, right? We can build on it. So we started this process. Hey, we want to build on that, right? Cool. I know nothing about new construction. So I had a few friends of mine reach out to me that, about investing. So I'm sure you guys on the call, you get the call. You post about real estate, you post about investing. So now everybody calls you and they want to know everything about everything in a 10, 15-minute phone call, right? Everybody wants to know everything there's about. They want to buy. I want you to help me buy a house. I want to help me invest. And I'm like, hey, look, how much money? I got you. Let's sit down and talk about it. But I want to make sure, like, this is worth both of our time. So what exactly do you want to do? And then let's figure out how I can make it work for us and how I can help you. And if it's not, that's okay. But I give you whatever information you need. But at least I can refer you to the place where you can get that information. So I started taking a lot of those phone calls, right? So I started thinking to myself, like, how can I maximize these calls? Because everybody don't know what they don't. You don't know what you don't know.
No, you don't. Right? That is so true.
Yeah, they have no idea. So they called me. They go, hey, I thought you said you're looking at houses. Like, what exactly are you doing? Right. So we started, so I started sharing with people over the last couple of years. And I think one thing that came true is a lot of people in my community were looking to become first-time home buyers, and they had no idea where to start. Right. So I started, I'm going to say this consulting business, but I started just kind of like just providing a service like, hey, listen, where's your credit? I don't know. Well, you need to get that first. Okay, do you have a down payment? No. What kind of house do you want? A nice one. Okay, where how much did you pay? How's your debt to income ratio? All the things that I guess if you bought a house before, you learned it along the way, but if you haven't, you really just have no idea. All you know is I'm paying $1,500 a month in rent, and I want to own something. I don't know where to start. Let me call Steve. He's a family friend. We've seen him here, and so forth. And I started giving out advice just on helping people buy houses, right? So I think up to this point, I was doing it for free. Just literally just doing it for advice. So I started talking to a couple of real estate agents about referrals and going, so let me preview this here. I have no desire to be a full-time real estate agent. I'm not passionate about houses. I'm not passionate about property walks. That doesn't get me excited. What gets me excited is the people in the process. And I literally just had one of my clients close on Friday, and the agent and him both texted me. He's like, Steve, thank you so much. You got everything done. You're closing on property. Right. So what my team is doing, we're just helping people, what I call is get to the finish line. Right. You don't know what you don't know. So we're working out a consulting piece to just kind of helping them put all the processes together as far as becoming first-time homeowners. So we're still kind of in the stages of kind of working out all the kinks on kind of how the finances work on that. But right now, we're taking on clients, we're just learning with them. We're teaching them the process about becoming home buyers. And I think what I figured out was that was a natural skill set that I had no idea that I had until I joined Portugal. Because everything I learned is just what I learned from the program, right? Learn through the systems, and obviously buying houses myself. But most of it came from what I learned in Portugal about how you evaluations and that kind of stuff. So. So that's one of the things that we're kind of focusing on right now is really just kind of helping first-time home buyers become owners, and we're partnering with agents. So somebody on my team, one of my teammates that works with Shy, is getting their license to Re-Instate, starting the training in January, and we're working with. I have a couple of agents that I'm working with right now that we're gonna get the referral fees. Pretty much the referral. That's gonna be how we get paid, right? But I don't want to show them a house. I don't want you to become an agent. I don't. That's the part.
You don't want to do the open houses, Steve.
Right. But I love problem solving. So that's kind of what got me into I love problem solving. I love having to put all the pieces of the puzzle together and then getting that payoff at the end. That for me, and I know people that know me know I'm a glutton for punishment, and I seek out problems. Like where it is, I'm like, oh, sign me up. I want to do it. I can fix it. I can fix it. I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And you know what? I love that I'm that way and I appreciate it, but I know sometimes it does get a little frustrating, but it's that moment when you have that aha moment that makes it all worth it, right? So right now we're just pretty much kind of, we have a couple focuses in the pivot, right? The market's changing. Those rehab deals have kind of slowed down for the most part, trying to deal with a lot of meat on the bone. And, sometimes we have hotels that are sending us deals and it's literally like, it's literally, if you're off by one hair, you're upside down pretty quick. So so we're trying to find other ways around it. I still want to work in real estate. I still want to continue to work for myself and still kind of build the business, but we have to find other ways to bring other streams of income. So had a family member reach out to me. Well, again, I really don't do any advertising. People literally, my phone rings all the time, and I always thought about advertising. And I said, I want to I ran at the beginning we ran Facebook ads. We took out some local ads, and most of those led nowhere, right? Mm-hmm. But when somebody calls me and says, "Hey, my friend Joey told me to call you," that usually leads to a deal. Those are usually the one that leads to that pocket deal, leads to the consultation fee, leads to something a little bit sooner. So I just talk to people that I know about what I'm doing, and it's usually where my phone, I stay pretty busy, most of the time. So I have a friend of mine reached out to me about selling her house, right? She's like, "Hey, you're an investor. I came to look at the house. It's in Jacksonville. I don't know anybody familiar with Jacksonville. So if you know anybody buying in Jacksonville, we want to talk after the call, right?" So we went and looked at the property. I had my contractor come and look at the property. We're thinking about doing a rehab on the property. The deal just didn't work for us. The house is 3,600 square feet. It's close to a historic district. There's a lot of rules about historic homes. I don't know enough about that part of the world. And my contractor is based in Orlando. Again, we both were like, I see it, but we just don't feel comfortable making that risk, right? She's like, "Okay, cool, I get it. Thank you." So she called me like a week after we left there. She's like, "Hey, Steve, I have a couple of investors call me about buying my house, right? You told me you couldn't do it. It didn't fit in your buy box. Could you help me broker the deal with the other wholesalers, investors?" I was like, "Well, of course I can. Like, well, what do you want me to do?" She's like, "I'm in school. I have 2 kids. My husband works full time. I work full time. I have 2 other businesses that I run. Would you just deal with all the investors for me from top to bottom? I want no communication with them. If you need to show it, they want to come look at it. You send a photo. You already have a deal analysis. I have everything that I already have a workup on it." And I was like, "Well, how much is that worth to you?" I said, I definitely don't mind doing it." I said, "But how much is that worth to you?" So we came up with a number, which was 2.5% of the total value of the home, which is about 15 grand.
Nice.
And pretty much she's like, that's worth it for me. You do all the work. Literally, I just get to run my everyday life. All the phone calls are going to go to you. Anybody want to going to go to you. They want to know about the AC. They want to know about the roof. They want to do a walkthrough, whatever, we'll schedule it. And I said, "You know what? I'm down. I'll do it." So we are working that deal right now. So we're finalizing some numbers today. I'm actually partnered with 3 other investors in that market, and we're going to list it, show it, and pretty much say, we finalize the price on it to make it make sense for everybody involved. So I think that again, that goes into, it's more of a consulting piece of it, not necessarily, I have a contract with them directly to do the consulting, not necessarily as an investor.
I love that you're pivoting into these ways and finding opportunities to still be working within real estate, but with not necessarily doing the traditional rehab. And you are finding these great avenues to consult and still create wins for everybody involved. And that's awesome.
Yeah. So the feedback she gave me when she called, her and her husband called me, she said, "Well, we're going to pay an agent $47,000, going to be 7% on the property. Us paying you $15,000 to take all that burden for us for the next month, like, I think that's way more than worth it. Now we don't have to deal with an agent." I was like, "Okay, cool." So yeah. So that's one of the projects that we're working on right now. We have a meeting on Wednesday with 3 other investors in that market, and they're working out their processes for it. And pretty much I take all the phone calls, I take all the emails. Literally all I need her is to sign off any paperwork when it comes up, and they kind of completely stay out of it. And again, I love the puzzle pieces. I love the problem solving. I love kind of walking through the process. And you know what? And it's been really exciting. So that's one of the things that we're working on, right? So continue to kind of build that business around helping people understand real estate. It sometimes does seem really confusing if you don't know what you don't know. But once you have somebody that has some insight on it, and again, by no means am I saying that I know everything, but what I do share is I'm a part of this great network that I can call somebody that does anything, right?
Yes.
I know somebody that does something. If you just put it on my radar, I'm sure I can go through somebody within Fortune Building, somebody within my network that can help and find an answer for it. So that's one of the things that we're working on right now. So that's pretty exciting. right? But we get to the next two things, right? So the next thing is we're working on our first new construction, right? So we've been talking about new constructions. I want to build houses, right? So
That's your
again, how
focus.
does
Yeah,
Bill
you
kind
you
of fit?
told me that's your like you're gonna keep the other things off to the
That's my
side,
lane,
stay focused because we all Steve and I had this
right?
conversation prior to this call about how there are all these other side noises that come up, and I think we all experience that in life in general, and then definitely within real estate that you're like, you're right, this is what I want to do, but then all of a sudden like this comes out pinging over here, and there's that new diamond shiny thing over here. Let me go try that, or what about this? And because there's just so many different avenues that you can pursue.
Yeah. So my construction, my focus has been new construction the last couple of years. So the consulting piece is what I figured out is that's going to help kind of keep it's going to replace with those wholesale deals we're doing at one point, right? We're 10,000 here, 5,000 here, but we're generating revenue. But the long term focus was to get into new construction. So had a again another referral pocket deal came out to me. A young lady reached out and said, hey, I want to invest with you guys. I know you invest. Somebody told me that you helped use the invest with you before in a rehab deal. I have some capital that I want to invest. Um, I'm going to refi my house. You want me through the ways that she's going to get the capital? And I'm like, okay, that might take a while, but okay, whenever you're ready, we're good to go. We sat down. There was two sisters, somebody that live in Atlanta, and we sat down with them, walked them through, kind of how this works, what their guarantee is, how does private money lending work, and then we gave them the whole presentation pitch. They're locked and loaded, ready to go. It's just going to take them a while to get the capital. Right, because they're selling a house, they're buying another house, they're refi, there's a divorce. There's a couple of different things happening. So it's going to take a while, but they want to know once they got the capital, they want to be able to kind of put it somewhere pretty quick, but they want to kind of weigh all their options. So they signed up, they're good to go, right? So we scheduled a monthly check-in call. This is probably back in April of last year. We just check in once a month. How things going? How you feeling? Cool. Things are moving along. Things are moving along. Got this done. Got that done. Some repairs on the house. Whatever. I looked for some contractors I know, and they're ready. They're ready to go. They need a little bit more time. So one of the calls, she said, "Hey, Steve, listen, I've been telling my dad about what you're doing for me. You're helping us kind of like, going to help us invest. My dad had some land in Fort Pierce, Florida. How close is that to you?" I'm like, about an hour and a half. She's like, he wants to build a house there, but he has no idea where to start. I said, really? I said, I want to go into building houses. I have no idea where to start. I said, but I'll figure it out. So her dad, we all got on the call together, spoke to dad, and he's like, hey, listen, it's a family house. They grew up in the house. He lives in Connecticut. He started the process twice and trying to build a house, and it gets so overwhelming. He's like, I just don't know where to start. I've talked to people, I've talked to builders, I've talked to contractors. The contractor I'm dealing with, he's a license to do this thing. This person's doing this thing, they don't have this thing, and I'm so far away that I need somebody to have boots on the ground. So I walked him through exactly what I can do, right? What my company does is like, listen, I've never built it, I've never done new construction. That is something that we're focused on. I said, but I'm up for the challenge, and if you're up for the challenge, like let's figure out how to make this work. So we negotiated a price, which was 5% of the total value of the end result of the property, which would be around $400,000. And again, we'll do everything from start to finish. We'll field all the phone calls. We'll clear the title. We're actually working on architecture drawings right now. We'll find a contractor. We find a builder. We go through the subs and literally do all the legwork for him for the fee of 5%, which is on point. I think it's a little bit less than buildings are charging around here, but he thought it was definitely worth it. For again, he started this process twice, and the first time he started, the house ended up getting condemned because he was trying to rehab the house. Because once he got an inspection, and so many issues with the property. It was built like in 1924, like it's on stilts. It was like he grew up in the house. He had some personal connection to it, but once the city came out and inspected, it's like absolutely not. Literally, so he had to do all these repairs, and then I'm knocking down the house. So he got a little discouraged, and he reached out to another builder about a year and a half ago, and they kind of started the process. They couldn't find a price that worked, and he's like, the guy, he found I didn't have a license to do this and do that, so he got a little frustrated. So that's kind of when he just pretty much hit the pause button. When I started working with his daughters, we kind of built a relationship, and I said, hey, listen, everybody that I use is gonna be licensed, insured. I will, I'll do all the deep digging. We're still in the process of cleaning up the titles. A couple of things happened with probate in the title, but I think the goal was I get to do the consulting piece of it. I helped them get a lender. The deal was fully funded. It's going to be a VA loan. They're building a duplex.
Okay.
So I think the cool thing was I get to use all this knowledge I have about real estate. I helped him find the funding, and literally he's like, man, this is crazy. Like, we agreed on a price that we'll pay out at the end. And pretty much what he's paying me is what he's going to use as initially his down payment. So I have to help him find a loan where he can use the land as a down payment, so he doesn't come out of pocket for anything, because he's going to be able to utilize the land as a down payment on the property for the new
Okay.
construction.
So when you're
So he
doing
was super
this
excited about that.
consulting fee in this capacity, I guess for this instance, because I know that you've shared some different ways that you've done it, are you having people pay you in installments, or are they, or with this, is it all at the end, or how did you structure that?
So what we're doing is there's an initial down payment up front, like $500 to $2,000. It depends on the project. And I call it, like, Sam Merrill call it skin in the game.
Yes.
Right. The payout is really at the end of the deal. But I think if you don't want to give the $2,000 right now to get started, and you don't want to do the $500 right now to get started, that says to me that you're not serious. And again, I'm not going to work for 2-3 months, or 2-3 weeks, or 2-3 days, either way. If you're kind of unsure about it, but at least I kind of get some paperwork going, and get them on some kind of commitment to say, hey, we're going to do this work. This is what we're committing to. This is what you're committing to. And then once you sell, or once the construction is done, we'll kind of go from there. So it's really just the initial payment up front, and then the end is when we finalize.
Okay. I was curious about that. I know when we talked, I didn't ask you that question, but it just kind of popped into my head. Like, like you said, you gotta get people with skin in the game. Do you do the same thing? Like, are you charging at this point for the consulting as helping somebody set up for buying their first time home, like the first time home buyers? What are you doing there?
No, well, so literally, we just had a meeting about that last week, right? Because again, this is all things that we're transitioning to. Because literally, I have 4 clients right now that want me down helping them figure out helping them figure out to buy their first home. So what we came up with was we'll get the referral from the real estate agent. That's enough to kind of like satisfy, I feel what we're putting into it, right?
Yeah.
But it's either $250 or $500 that they'll pay us up front to kind of get started. We'll get our payout at the end, the referral fee from the agent, but up front, that homeowner will give us either $500 or $250, depends on the value of the home that they're looking for. Again, that'll become their skin in the game. That gives them an opportunity to kind of get the contract signed.
Yes.
To say that this is our commitment to you, and this is what we're going to get you to do. Again, there's no guarantee. And literally, it's almost, there's some people I'm working with right now, their credit is just in a really rough place. I hooked them up with some lenders to help do credit referral, which is fine. I say, hey, that might take a few months, but that's okay. I said, if you do all the things that she tells you to do, in about 3 to 6 months, you should be ready to go. But you got to pay this thing off, right? If there's something over here, you're not going to pay it off. You need to get that cleaned up on your credit. So there's going to be some letters that have to get written and that kind of stuff. So again, I'm not helping you with the credit repair. All I'm going to do is direct you into the place to go, and I'll just kind of give you an overview of some options that I think that you'll need, to get the debt to income ratio in the right place, and to kind of get your down payment and those kind of things, to figure out how much house you can afford. Because I guess everybody, when you don't know, you look at it, I thought it would be the other way, where more people think they can afford less house than they actually can.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, no, you can actually like
you can do better. Yeah, you can step it up.
Yeah, I'm like, so you can actually buy a house for $350 instead of you're looking at this neighborhood that all the houses are like $195, $200. They're like, oh, okay, but again, they didn't understand the whole process and the terms of the loan and that kind of stuff. And
that's interesting, because I would have thought it would be the other way around as well. Like, where people think that they can afford the moon and back, and they're like, no.
I did too. But I guess it's more the clientele that I'm looking at is more people that probably 5 years ago never thought they could buy a house. Or even 2 years ago never thought I can become a homeowner. But so I think that's more the clientele that I'm working with right now. So I think in their case, they're like, okay, I didn't know I could even buy a house. Like that's crazy.
That makes sense.
Okay, so now we're working on the new construction. We're about 6 months out from breaking ground on it. We're finalizing the architect's drawings right now. We got the architect in place. We have the builder in place. We have the title company in place. We have the lending in place. So then it's just a waiting game now on all those things to kind of finish up. The land got surveyed. It probably got surveyed, I think, last week. We're waiting to get that back. So again, but for me, it's a learning for me as well. So now I'm getting to do this new construction that we can talk about for the last couple of years, but it's totally funding by somebody else. There's no money out of pocket for me, but I get all the education, all the learning, all the information, and all the relationships. But again, like Dan Merrill said, we use somebody else's money to do it, but I'm getting the education that I can't unlearn at the end. All right.
Yes.
So awesome. The plan is, and this it's funny how these conversations kind of lead, right? So now the plan is, on the 4 acres that we own in Georgia, we want to build 6 houses. The plan was to build 6 houses, sell 3 of them, and keep 3 as rental, along with the other 1 house that's already there, and just kind of, again, continue to use that to build a part of our portfolio. So as I've been sharing that story, one of the houses already been bought that we have house sending this gets out. He wanted to send me money. I'm like, no, please, do not send me money. They're like, well, Steve, I want to make sure you know I'm serious. I want one of those houses because if you're going to have 3 rentals there, I want to buy a rental too. So let me just buy one of the other rentals. And now your company can do the property management that's already managing, managing your properties. So now we're looking into going, okay, what if we pre-sold these houses? Because the plan is for the 3 houses to take care of the construction of all 6 of them, right? So, so I have one house that somebody's like, well, just put an earmark. I said, I don't even have a price. I have no idea. Literally, we're just kind of going through. We're looking at houses. We're looking at models. So the plan right now is, what if we kept all 6 of them as rentals and we just managed it as a small, like 7 houses in this, little cul-de-sac, right? And then I'm like, okay, that's my first step into building that long-term location. The location is in Jonesboro, Georgia, which is about 45 minutes south of Atlanta. It's in between Griffin. It's in Henry County. It's in Clayton County, right between south of Clayton County, right almost into Henry County. So that's what our long-term goal is, to say, what if we could pre-sell these houses before we even start? Got to have those commitments. So once we finish the construction, we already have them sold in advance. We already have an end user that, it becomes a rental community. Because my goal initially was selling them just kind of keep, just single family houses. But now I'm going, okay, that could be a whole little rental community that we'll kind of take the pivot into going to our next project, which we don't have yet. I met with anybody know. His name is AJ. I can't remember his last name. He's building
JJ?
properties out in San Antonio.
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah, JJ. You said you met with JJ?
No, AJ. His name is
AJ.
AJ. He's doing new constructions out in San Antonio.
I know him.
Yeah. So funny, me and him had lunch a few weeks ago, and he was sharing me some of the stuff he's doing out in San Antonio. So one of his thoughts was eventually he wants to build. He's building. I think he's doing 24 houses right now in San Antonio. By the end of 2024, they'll be done with all 24 of them.
Wow.
So his thought was, hey, what if we do something similar to that in Orlando, marketing in the Orlando market? He's calling it, it's not low income housing, but affordable housing. He doesn't want any of the houses to be over $300,000. He's like, again, middle America, 2-family household, $80,000 a year. That could afford a property. It doesn't have to be a $600,000, $700,000 house.
Yeah.
So we kind of shared some ideas on kind of what that looked like, and possibly buying some land in Orlando at some point, or in the Orlando market, to kind of help bring some of that vision to life as well. So that's something we've just been kind of sharing. So I'm just kind of keeping him up to date on some of my projects. But I think the goal, what I'm understanding here is, once you're in the business, I love real estate. I love the people portion of it. I love the grind. I love kind of figuring out. I love the problem solving piece of it. But trying to figure out, how do I use those natural skill sets when I don't have those property deals on the wholesale side coming across like they probably were maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. And we have to kind of figure out how to use this information and knowledge to pivot into other parts of the business, but still find a way to do things that you love.
Yes, absolutely. And you found amazing ways to pivot and continuing to do so. And I think that's what's so awesome. And good to hear, I guess, at this point in time, especially with, where we are and in the markets and things that have happened, it's just definitely a different place. And you found some really cool ways to add consulting into, finding ways to make money. And then, I'm sure in another year from now, 2 years from now, the pivot has to continue to happen, I think, with real estate. But I love that you're continuing to stay involved in it and excited and passionate about it. Does anybody have any questions for Steve? And then, I'd love to hear also what you all are doing. I don't know if anybody wants to chime in. I know, Steve, you're working with TJ and working on some things, I think, together there. And that's what I do love about this connection. That I love seeing people working together, and it's really cool to see how that happens.
I saw TJ jumped on the call. So TJ actually, me and him started on the property down on Root Street. I'll have him jump on and kind of tell us more about it. And we've been kind of working together on just some wholesaling. So I think I'm connecting with some other investors in the Orlando market. He's so I'll let TJ kind of speak a little bit on it. But my goal right now, I'm just trying to help him kind of jump to the market and do whatever I can. We're still looking for some rehabs as well, but in the meantime, I'm partnering with other investors in the area as well to kind of help bring some deals to life as well. So TJ, good to see you, man. I saw you jumped on the call. How you doing, brother?
Hey, I'm good, Steve. How are you, man?
Good to see you, man. This guy right here, if you don't know TJ, this guy is hungry. He's a go-getter. Like, he knows his stuff, and I'm so excited to be able to kind of build a partnership with this dude.
Yeah, it's been awesome seeing Steve. Actually, meeting Steve for the first time a couple months ago. I seen you only on Zoom calls for years, and then we finally got to meet up because company I'm working with has a property over in Orlando, and I just am out of wits on what to do with it, and so I called up Steve to see if he could help me, and even he couldn't help me. That's how I knew I was about crap out of luck.
Well, I couldn't help you. Those numbers just didn't work. It's just the
It
numbers.
just didn't
I
work,
think I
man.
was willing to do it. Those numbers just didn't work.
I got an impossible task, don't I, Steve?
No, you did, man. You did. But just you worked it. You communicated. You followed up, and I think it was one of those things when you're part of an organization, you got to kind of follow suit. But I think from your part, dude, I was so impressed with your work ethic, with your follow up, with your detailing, and even your level of pivoting as well. Like, what if we do this thing? You got to. So but great. It was great work with you for sure.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man.
Yes, I guess TJ, do you want to tell everybody what the company you're working for and what you're doing now?
Yeah, so in the last year, I started working with an investment brokerage. My broker runs a 506B fund with investors out of Italy. And for the last year, I've been really specializing on the construction side. So I've been the asset manager and basically running our property management, our construction management, and anything that has to do with that part. So we had 26 single family properties, a 41 unit apartment complex in Lake City. And then as well, when I started, I probably had 10 projects on my table. And I got to clear out basically all of those last year and add a couple more to the plate. But I still have one that's on the table, and it's the one that Steve actually was trying to help me with. And Ruth, this is just a project from hell. It's down in the historic district of Orlando, and I didn't find out that until my contractor started work without pulling a permit. So I've been fighting with the city of Orlando for the last couple months on that one, but
That's brutal.
yeah, it's been terrible. And because of experiences like that, I've been kind of trying to shift away from the construction part. Materials and just kind of the management of labor has been extremely difficult down here. Keeping guys around, keeping contractors working for a good price. It's tough. And so I've been kind of falling a little bit away from the contracting part and moving more towards our acquisition department, where we have a team now of 5 guys, and we are constantly scouring the market all over Florida for properties. And so outside of the Tampa Bay, we'll usually wholesale properties, but anything in Tampa Bay, we try to grab for the other side of the company to then do the flip. And so that's been extremely exciting. I mean, just seeing
What have
that
you found with the properties? What are you seeing now within the market? Are there still deals to be had? Are they just a really few and far
so
between, or?
So that's what I was gonna say is that in my history, in my experience with my company, deals were harder and harder to find, especially as COVID went on. And but again, I was a small company. I didn't have marketing. I didn't even have my license, so I wasn't on the MLS. I didn't have
Mhm.
access to a lot of resources that the company I work for now does. And we spend quite a bit of money on marketing, but there is still deals out there. I mean, we usually clear quarter mil each quarter, and that was with 3 guys. And that's basically, that's just
So are you
wholesale
seeing $250,000 in your
revenue.
purchases and that
Yeah, like
you've wholesaled?
basically, yeah, basically wholesale flips. And then because again, so even when my company, the construction part of the company is purchasing a flip, we purchase it from the acquisitions department. So everybody's making money even within the company. So these guys have already had it built out where every single flip that I was doing from the construction side was
Mhm.
bought by my buddies over on the acquisitions department. So you can see, I can see the deal from start to finish. So then once I joined, then they had a guy to go out to every property to go inspect if it was a good buy or not, to go see if their rehab was good, if they had a good estimate on their rehab or not. And
Yeah.
so it's allowed me to see a bunch of properties, but no, there is still a lot of deals out there. I mean,
Where
just
are
in the
you
last,
finding them? Do you think that they're coming basically from, is it like a foreclosure situation? Is it
so
probate? Is it just a mixed
we
bag?
we specifically target agents.
Oh,
We pull a list of all the agents in basically we do Tampa. We'll go as far south as like Cape, not even Cape Coral. We'll go to like South Sarasota, but we try to stay away from Naples, Fort
mhm.
Myers, especially after the hurricane. We do a little bit of South Florida, but Orlando heavy and Jacksonville heavy, Tampa Bay as well. And we strictly target agents, and we don't want to deal with the homeowner. The last thing we want to deal with is the homeowner. So I'm a licensed agent myself, but I don't list properties. I'm a licensed agent so that I can talk to other licensed agents and that I can have what Steve was talking about. It's very easy for me to get a referral fee because I'm a licensed agent. As not a licensed agent, it's not hard to do, but you have to have specific contracts. You have to do it in the right way.
Yeah.
But if it's a property that's listed on the MLS, then it gets a lot more difficult to get referrals and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So yeah, we're getting directly to the agent, and we want, hey, do you have a listing that you can't put on the MLS? That it either won't pass a 4-point inspection, or I don't know, maybe your homeowner doesn't want to clean all the shit out of the house so that you can take good pictures and
Exactly.
list it. There's people that they run into that, and their homeowners are like,
Yes.
their sellers are like, I don't want to clean the house so that you
That's true.
take pictures. I don't want you to have showings. How does a realtor list a house on the MLS like that? You don't. You know,
Well, unfortunately, like it's really crazy. I have seen when realtors have done it, and it does
yeah.
not seem to look well. Like where people have in their bathrooms, their toothpaste is still sitting there with their toothbrushes and their
And
shampoo, and everything is just
here's the
everywhere.
thing:
And you're
is
like,
that
what are we doing here?
a serious realtor who is trying to do millions of dollars of revenue is not going to list that because that's going to tarnish their name. What they're going to do is they're going to call the 5 investors that they have in their book
Yeah,
because most good realtors have investors that they work with.
yeah,
So I want to be the first investor that has called this realtor. I want to be the first guy he's working with. So anytime he comes one across these, he calls me first. And the biggest thing is that a lot of our deals are relationship deals. We
hmm,
have a couple guys that have been in the industry for, 2 years, a year and a half, 3 years. I mean, even me. So far, my first deal came from my realtor who brought me my first deal ever, my first flip ever, 5 years ago. I went under contract with him on a land deal over in Tampa. Unfortunately, we couldn't get it closed. I kind of think it was a timing thing more than anything, but again, it was like I didn't even have to market. I didn't have to utilize the systems that my team provided. I
yeah,
got that just from a connection, 5 years ago. So the history staying and again, what Steve is talking about is, figuring out how to pivot just to stay in the industry. I mean, even if you're not full time, how do you stay
Mm-hmm.
connected? How do I hang around so that people know me and that and because they might not be ready right now, but in 5, 10 years or 2, 3, 5 years, when their
yep.
house starts getting real decrepit, they're gonna remember me. Hopefully, that's my
Yes,
goal. But a
staying
lot
good
of deals,
connections. I like
yeah,
it.
a lot of deals from connections, but there's still deals out there. I mean, again, we're so successful because we're getting a deal a week, but they're not all in Tampa Bay. We get one in Orlando, we get one in Tampa Bay, we get one in Jacksonville, we get one in
Makes
South
sense.
Florida. So
That's awesome. Well, that's awesome, TJ. Yeah, it sounds like you're doing the whole pivoting thing as well and staying with the connections. And I'd love it sounds, like you got something good going on. I mean, Aldo, Bob, Slavesh, John Caruso, do you guys have anything you
Hey,
want to ask or add in?
TJ, I'm gonna reach out to you about my Jacksonville property. I'm gonna send you some information on it tomorrow, okay?
yeah, please do. We got a bunch of connections up there.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
I'd
All
love to
right.
hear what you all are doing. Anybody want to jump in? Bob's like, no.
Curious to know for like Steve for like the for new builds, and I know it depends on what cities you're in, but what is kind of like the turnaround time from breaking ground to having that thing built out that you're looking
Okay.
at over
So
there in
so
Florida?
so what we're looking at right now is it's about 6 8 months from the time we get everything finalized. Is it the time where I'm at in Fort Pierce? So we met with our builder last week. We're finalizing paperwork to kind of go with them. We interviewed a couple of different builders. what I wanted to do was find to build in that area, right? So I think that was my take on it. I didn't want to, because I started working with the builder I knew from Orlando, and they went down with me. And I was like, okay, he doesn't really know this market, though he's excited to kind of work on the project. He's talking about hotels and like, 2 hours drive like this. Listen, you know what? Maybe this not, maybe this might not be the thing. So I think it depends on the builder. So I think the builder that we're working with actually building a very similar structure to what we wanted to get built. That's kind of how I got the referral. We actually went to their property and actually built it, and we got the information, and we kind of went from there. So it's a while. There is some time involved. Depends on the city. I said they told me it should take about 6 months for me to get everything finalized before we can even break ground.
So you're talking like 6 months up front and then build time on top of that. Is what you're saying, Steve?
Yep.
So 6 months, and then an additional how many months after that? After once you get all the permits finalized to build it out.
To build is, I guess we were looking at 6 to 12 months is what everybody was talking about. From the time we break ground, should be about 6 to 12 months. 6 months if everything goes on schedule, but it's Florida. If there's a hurricane, if there's anything that happens with the weather, that might
so in Fort Pierce, where you're at, do you have anything like? Because I know there's all like when you build out near the beaches, there's all these soil testing things that have to go on.
We're not that close to the beach. We're about 3 miles in. So again, it's right around 3 miles away from the beach. So that would not be necessary.
Oh, that's good.
As far as that goes, for where we are. So we're not.
You're not dealing with pilings and like all of that. Are you in a flood zone? Or are you having to deal with that element of it? Good.
No, not right now. But the owner's very specific, and he knows exactly what he wants, and he wants to spend the money. So, I get it. I love dealing with a difficult client, but I think he's I could see how he might have ran a few other people away. So I get it, but most people appreciate honesty, and I'm starting with him. He's like, hey, I want to do like you can't do that because you don't have that's not the budget. He's like, well, I want to do something. No, you're not doing that. Listen, hold on.
Bob had a question for you. Do you have to do an elevated foundation?
No, we're actually in that neighborhood we do not.
Yeah, I saw Bob ask that question, so it was good, curious. But yeah, so it sounds like you're gonna earn your money though. It sounds like, Steve.
I am, but again, for me, what I said was I would have paid for this education, right?
Yeah.
So the fact that somebody else is going to fund it, and I get to walk it from start to finish, and I don't have to spend any money out of my pocket, and I get a check at the end. Again, it's all worth it for me. The time, the effort, the energy that I would have spent someplace else, I think it's worth it. So.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So Aldo, what's happening out there on the West Coast?
Oh man, well, I mean, I just kind of got a little bit more discouraged knowing that your new builds take about 12 months to complete. I'm going on like 16 months on a stupid ADU to get approved in LA, and it's crazy, well, like I don't know if you guys use ADU, but I think you guys use granny flats. But yeah, it's a new construction, but it's taking me like 16 months to like get it all like permitted and get the certificate of occupancy on that. It's nuts, it's like one department after another, and like all kinds of delays. It's like delays with the gas company, delays with the electrical company, delays with the water company. It's like so it makes me
work. And is anybody on time here?
Like they used to be, like city of LA used to be like super fast. Like before the pandemic, like their fees were always expensive, but at least they were fast. At least they things turned around quickly. Once the pandemic hit, everything went to crap. It's like they just literally nobody went back to the office till so this time last year. People weren't people in the city. So everything submitting permits and all of that, everything had to be done online. So you have no idea if someone's even reviewing it or what's going on.
Yeah, they're sitting in their PJs and they're watching Bravo and they're like, I'm not really working at this moment. This email's filtering to somewhere.
Yeah. It's so stupid, and it's like it's so frustrating, it's like because they always complain like, oh, we have a housing shortage. Well, like, no shit, like we can't build anything here. That's why we have a housing shortage. We can't get anything approved to build. It's like literally we got from once our permits were approved, from pouring concrete to like being completely vertical and framed and everything.
Yes.
It took 6 weeks with my guys. Like it
You're
was
like,
like
it's
quick.
yes.
You know, it's done. You know, it's the waiting for the permits, waiting for each different department to like,
And now I'm
you
sure
know,
it's the
like go out there.
inspection, as Bob was mentioning, even when Steve was talking in the chat about inspectors
Yeah.
coming out through each step.
Yeah. So it's like it's very discouraging to want to do anything out here.
I believe
Going
it.
through that. You know? It's like stupid. Luckily, it's a great deal we had, and you know, but like it's just stupid.
How many
Aldo, were you?
years?
Did you go to Vegas to Keith's event?
Yeah, I was there. I got to meet Bob. Me and Bob had a good time together.
Oh, that's so awesome. That's great.
Nice.
Yeah.
I wanted
Hey,
to
you know,
go
it's
out, but how's Keith doing? And any notable takeaways you think is worth sharing?
my God, it's got a lot going on. You know, there's so much going on. I mean, me and him, we partnered up on a lot on doing like the short-term rentals. You know, so you know, like I've been working with Bob as well. You know, over here, and like it's like it. So you know, we have like we're expanding like the short-term rental portfolio, and then he also has a nonprofit that he's working really, really, really hard on, and that you know, Bob's very involved with that as well with the Beyond Living model, the nonprofit that they're launching in different areas. So it's coming to Tampa, you know, and so like that's going great. You know, they're just picking up a lot of momentum with that, and that's really, really going to add like a new model for real estate investing. You know, it's like once this thing gets really up and going and it's running in the different cities, that thing is gonna I mean it's like I like it more than the short-term rental model, honestly. You know, it's just a lot easier to run, but at the same time you're also making an impact in the community, and you're also and it's doing cash flow as well, so you're getting the best of both worlds, cash flow and impacting the community. You know, so that model that he has, a nonprofit model of Young Living, is going to really take off, and it's going to be like a fantastic model for like any investor out there. You know, so he's doing a lot of great things. You know, so it's going. He's doing well. He's doing well. You know. So yeah,
That's awesome. For I know Bob and Aldo know Keith likely, but like Bob Ash and TJ and Steve, I don't know if you know, he's spoken a couple times on our calls. He's out of Vegas, and he has a lot of really cool things that he does with real estate. Had a really great marketing business, and he's just a workhorse and always innovating and always looking for the ways that he can really make an impact on not just like for himself or his network of investors, but in the community. And so that's what Aldo was speaking of. It was it's, what is it called again? I've like haven't been on his calls forever, and I need to get back on.
Oh, which one? The company is Next Gen.
Next Gen, but like what is the actual nonprofit? Like he has a name for it, correct?
Oh, Beyond Living. Beyond Living.
Beyond Living. That's
Beyond
right. I like it was in the tip of my head. And basically it's really helping people not just get, you know, housing, but learn skills to as they're getting back to the communities or whatever situation that they're in, that they needed to go into a different living situation. Oh, Bob's got it. Thanks, Bob. To really give them those skill sets and partnering with towns and cities to make that happen. And I definitely, we would love, I wish we could have went out to Vegas. It's children and their need of rides places. So like,
totally get it.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, totally get it. Yeah.
And my my unemployment draining our bank account.
That's
that too. Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, but hey, you know, I'll see you guys again out there in Tampa sometime soon here.
Hopefully we can get out even that way to an event. That's awesome.
Hey, you know what? You remember my buddy that you guys met? They came with me to your house,
The
Carlos.
Champagne people.
The Champagne people. But he's now the CEO of Precision Door Garage Company there in Tampa.
Oh,
No way.
So he's now the CEO of that company.
Oh wow.
That is really awesome. Good
so he runs all of their business out of Tampa, now like the Jacksonville, like Orlando, Florida markets, Oklahoma, Columbus, Ohio, all of that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
That's a
so yeah.
need of some champagne. Celebrate
Oh
that.
yeah. Oh man. Oh, trust me. Like, oh, now it's like the elevator bottle. Now, it's just
Right,
like,
right.
it's like,
Yeah, when you
it's like
come out
the,
here again, let's all get together. I'd like to see Carlos again.
That'd be awesome.
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Bob Ash, what's new with Bob Ash? I'd love to hear what's going on with you. Haven't seen y'all for a while. Let me see. Do you want me to unmute? Can I unmute you? Okay.
Well,
there we go.
Aldo,
did you
Yeah,
get
no,
him?
not much. Yeah, I
There he
got
is.
it. No, just staying busy, but yeah, as you guys are saying, it's hard to find properties lately. We did one flip with I think Laura, you know them. They are in Tampa.
Oh, yes, I saw that. Yes. What is it? It's not Rita.
Nicole,
Not Rita. It's no, what's her name?
no, Nicole
Yeah.
Bond.
Oh, yeah, Nicole and Spencer.
Yeah, Nicole.
Yeah, yeah. So we did a flip with them down in Parrish, Florida. It's by past Sarasota area.
Mhm.
And yeah, the construction took forever and didn't make much profit as we'd expected because of all the other stuff that came along with it. But that's how it goes. Sometimes you
But you
get
got
good
through
luck.
it and it's sold. That's the
We
important
got
thing.
through.
You got through
Yes,
it and
we
it's
did.
sold.
Yes, that's right. And we didn't lose money. That's the bottom point.
That is definitely, I
So,
think that's one of Warren Buffett's main rules, just don't lose money. But we've all been there where that doesn't necessarily always happen. So
yeah, yeah, no, yeah, just hanging in there, just trying to find more properties.
are
Uh,
you all still focusing mainly on rehab flipping?
yeah, right now we are, yes.
Did you
But I
did
do.
you purchase an
Uh,
assisted living facility at one point? Did we talk about an assisted living that you had?
yeah, yeah, in Phoenix, Arizona. We had two, but that didn't work out much good at all.
It didn't.
Because you need yeah, no, you need employees that you can, that can be there full time, and it's a little hard to get employees like that.
Hmm.
So no, that wasn't a good success.
Yeah. That, I mean, once
Yeah,
again, that happens. We've all been there. We live and learn for sure.
yeah, yeah. So we just leased out those properties, so at least we're doing something with them.
Oh, good. Good.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to hear. Yeah, I mean, I would love, yeah, if we, I don't know if yeah, the market, if we know of any houses that come along or TJ does, hey, there, you got somebody who's looking right there.
Yeah. Polk County, anywhere around Lakeland, we're
Yeah,
good.
Bhavesh, let's get connected outside of this because let me know your buy box. I
Sure.
come across stuff in all those areas. I mean, I was actually just looking at a house in Parrish today.
Okay.
But yeah, so we're coming across those all the time. So let me know. And I mean, we we run our numbers just like how we were taught with fortune builders. And
Yeah.
we put in money and we put out the deals that we know make sense to our investors. We don't put out crap deals. So
Yeah. Yeah. That's what most of the wholesalers are.
exactly. And we don't call ourselves wholesalers because we're really not. I mean, we do the
Yeah.
deals ourselves if we can. It's just when it's
Yeah.
out of our buy box, we sell it off to somebody who can do it when we can't.
Yep.
So
That's
again, we're
right.
going to put it at a number that our company would buy it at. So if it would make
Yeah.
sense to us, it makes sense to other investors, and that's why people still work with us, and that's why we have a good reputation.
Okay. Yep. Sure.
There you go.
Sounds good.
I love it. Connecting. And that's what we all get to do. And that's why we're all on here. And I don't want to, I really do appreciate you guys getting on and just reconnecting with everybody and seeing what everybody was doing and how we can help each other going into the future. And love the stories of pivoting.
Yeah, if anybody hates their health plan, reach out to me.
And that is John Caruso's plug for his new, what he is trying to pivot himself into is health insurance, because we've learned through his job elimination at the beginning of the year, health insurance is not great to try to find. And even once you do, it's a little bit I don't know. We haven't had a greatest experience with switching from his corporate health insurance into other health insurance. So long story short, here he is in venturing into health insurance world. So there you go, his pivot. So guess we can end with that. I really did appreciate connecting with y'all and seeing y'all. Bob, you don't want, I know you're like, no, you shook your head, you're good. And you're like, okay.
I can't even keep up with all the crap that I got going on. I mean, Aldo, we sat and talked for hours while we were in Vegas, and he was just like, how the hell do you keep up with everything that you're doing?
Notebooks.
I don't know.
It's all up here, Bob. It's all up here.
Bob is a machine, man.
I believe that. I believe that. Well, again, it was so awesome connecting with y'all. And Steve, thank you for all of the stuff that you shared and everything else that everybody else did. And I think the plan, and I would just want to kind of end with this, is when I talked to Jerry about, reconvening these meetings, and sorry, like kind of just with John's job and stuff happened in life, we just kind of got off the rhythm of it. So next month, Jerry has a project that I know, although you can't, you're across the country, you can't make it live, but we're going to try to do, I think, a live meetup, but maybe do it like a hybrid model like we were doing. He has a new construction project that he said should be done in Davis Island, maybe wrap up the year that way. And then going forward, maybe I'll just put it on the Facebook group or just think about it. Like, I mean, what works best for everybody? Is it consistency and having a monthly meeting, or is it maybe every other month? Or is it once a quarter? Like, where does everybody kind of, just think about it? Nobody needs to answer at this moment. If you're like headspace with that, what would work for you? And then next year going into 2024, that's what we're going to try to roll with. What makes sense for everybody? Because I really do think that there is value in continuing these relationships and building them. So.
Sounds good.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you. And thank you, Steve, for pulling over on the side of the road in a gas station parking lot to be a part with us. That's some dedication right there.
Thanks,
Can you
Steve.
guys hear me? No?
Yeah, I can hear you right now.
Hey, Aldo, if you could, Laura, could you send me let's exchange numbers. I got a project out in Vegas. I had somebody reach out to me about that. I know nothing about that market. We could probably connect on it.
Yeah, I'll send you I'll send you guys each other's contact info.
It's a really good deal if we can make it happen. Okay, awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, you guys have a good evening. Thanks again.
Sure.
All right, talk soon. Bye-bye.